youths by 50%. 107-year-old woman remanded for allegedly plucking out boys' eyes in Kano. Boko Haram execute 10 ISWAP fighters commanders in Lake Chad. Defection. INEC asks court to dismiss PDP's case against Ayade. 2023. Anger as PDP throws presidential ticket open. Odinkalu Bianca Ujuku Charlie Boy. Others make 15 members Soludo's committee. Ramadan Day 6 make this Ramadan the best ever. Electricity. Unbundled TCN face out in bed. Power engineers tell federal government. Nnamdi Kanu will soon be released. Mbazulike Amechi. Road, rail or air, Nigerians can travel safely in their own country. Why? Antagonizing, discrediting Utahs, highly unpatriotic. That is coming from ASU. Alright, let us move on. We're going to be looking next at InsideOyo.com. Ramadan pray for Nigeria, land laying hedges Muslims. In Ibadan, rival court gangs engage in another shootout on campus. Alleged 5.2 billion naira fraud. Ex-Jam registrar Debo Jerry funded our radio station. Former Air Force Chief Shino Pella becomes life patron. Okay, PDP will give Nigeria an acceptable president through consensus option. Who is saying that? Governor Sheyi Makinde of Oyo State. Next is Oyo Inside. NCC demands MNOs, agents, consumers compliance with SIM replacement guidelines. Okay, Ramadan. Remio saying he greets Muslims. Ramadan Lanley congratulate Muslims, saying Dambata raised out achievement as Nigeria ends over Watro chairmanship to Republic of. That's all I could see. Let's leave that and wrap it up with some stories from the pen pushing. And from the pen pushing, Iyalode of Yoruba land tasks parents on need to encourage children on what? On cultural heritage. Student Association blames Polytechnic management over insecurity on campus. Popular Islamic cleric, what about him? Buhari Omo Musa to do what? Gunmen attack military base, kill 11. And evangelist warns. Okay, it's indeed a funny one here. Evangelist warn men against lustfully looking at okay, let's wrap it up there. We'll take a breather at this juncture. We'll be back to do some analysis. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. The program is Rise and Shine here on Ibr92.5FM Ibadan. I am yours sincerely, Hanuluapo Homoride, and with me in the studio this morning is Bright Richard. Good morning, Bright.
Good morning to you. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time on the program. Okay, let us start with this story, as reported by the Premium Times. I'm trying to open this story, and it has to do with President Muhammadu Buhari, who has signed Executive Order 11 on maintenance of public buildings. So, Bright, you have in the Premium Times today, Buhari signs Executive Order 11. Okay, I'm trying to get the story. So, Buhari signs Executive Order 11 on maintenance of public buildings. That is what the story says in the Premium Times today. I thought a court barred the president or nullified Executive Order 10 at a point in time.
Yeah, but I think this is Executive Order 11 is talking about, and they've been a kind of like a practice before now. They try to institute a practice as regards public buildings. I don't really see, personally, I don't really see anything wrong in this particular executive order because of our culture, the kind of system we practice in Nigeria when it comes to government property, public facilities. And coming up with this particular bill, I think one of the bill states that each government agencies and ministry should have a kind of like a maintenance department when it comes to public assets. And Nigeria, we have this attitude: every man's property is no man's business, and we don't really care much about it. So I feel personally there is nothing really wrong about it. But talking about signing executive order, a court uh, kind of like restraining him from doing that. I feel maybe he should have actually taken it through the House of Assembly, passing a bill to actually get this thing signed into the Constitution and be a part of our Constitution. But using his veto power as the president, looking at the bill itself, the content of the bill, and the executive order itself and the content, I don't think there is anything that's going to raise more alarm because we don't really care much about public assets.
Okay, so President Muhammadu Buhari has signed Executive Order 11 on the maintenance of national public buildings. Mr. Buhari signed the document Wednesday morning before the commencement of the cabinet meeting holding at the council chambers of the State House, Abuja. Speaking shortly before signing, the Nigerian leader directed all ministries, departments, and agencies of government to set up maintenance departments in line with the provisions of the new executive order. At that time, it was for local government autonomy, and I think autonomy for houses of assembly. And a lot of persons had said that with the executive order 10, maybe restructuring is coming back, okay, or wants to creep in through the back door. It was celebrated at that time, but it was the governors that challenged this at that time. This is Executive Order 10, and in that ruling of the court, it sounded as if the court said the president does not have the power to give Executive Order 10 because I could remember in our final analysis here, it was said that what the court was trying to say is that through executive order, the president was making laws, and so that he had no such power. That was the narrative at that time. The governors challenged Executive Order 10. I don't know, maybe it's too early to suggest maybe this will be challenged in court. The point I'm trying to make, I hope we are not being selective in what we challenge in court. This has to do with maintenance of public property.
I think we are being selective, not that we are not being selective. I can bet to challenge you that this particular executive order 11 will not be challenged.
Will not be challenged
because of the content. I'm looking at the content. That executive order 10 has to do with local government autonomy, which is going to step on some powers and is going to cut off.
So where is the sincerity of purpose?
If you want to know, we should understand about politics, politicians, and governance in Nigeria is so clouded with interest. Whatever, even if it's a bill, you look at the electoral act that bill that became an act. It has faced some challenge, even from the president. Before assenting to that bill, we saw the back and front it went through. So when a particular bill or executive order do not suit some person's interest, like this particular one, we're looking at public asset and setting up a maintenance agency. Who is going to confront that? It's also another avenue to create job, because by the time you set up that maintenance agency, you need people to be there.
But if you rate the level of importance to the polity, perhaps Executive Order 10 would have brought more stability to the polity than this. Is good to maintain public property, but the fact that the governors challenged Executive Order 10 and the court ruled at that time, one would have expected that the president would not have issued any executive order. But this is Executive Order 11.
Yeah, if you look, that is why I'm telling you that politics governance in Nigeria is tinted towards interest.
So why are we talking of development? How can you develop in such
We only
situation?
develop in areas that borders our interests, personal interest, not even national interest. That's why governors, politicians, leaders, those serving in federal and state level look out for ways it's going to they fit in their interest into a particular issue. Once it doesn't concern their interest, they don't care about it. That's why I said I almost bet to challenge you that this particular
executive order 11 will not be challenged in court.
Has it raised any doors since after he signed it? Have anybody really?
Because reactions ought to have been thrilling.
Yes, but no reactions, because they look at a public buildings maintenance department.
It affects no one's interests,
and find it might even be another avenue of siphoning money if care is not taken, because they may just decide to quote billions of naira as the way they quoted in fixing the National Assembly. They may pick some particular public asset building that this building may need so and so billions of naira, and that will be another way to siphon money. So for now, this one have not stepped on any political interest, and definitely nobody is going to raise alarm.
So do you call that developmental politics being played in Nigeria then?
Is everything, almost everything in Nigeria, they attach politics to it.
Okay, let's move on. Also, right there in the Premium Times, affirmative action. Court orders Nigerian government to reserve 35% of public offices for women. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday ordered the federal government to enforce the national gender policy by allotting 35% of appointments in the public sector to women. A non-government organization, Women in Politics Forum, filed the suit against the Nigerian government, seeking the implementation of the 35% affirmative action in appointments of women into public office. Delivering his judgment on the suit on Wednesday, the judge, Donatus Okoro, agreed with the plaintiff that Nigerian women had been subjected to various forms of discrimination concerning appointment into key positions of government. So it will take the court to impress it on government at all levels. So court orders Nigerian government to reserve 35% of public offices for women.
I think that particular judgment is directed towards appointment, not elective position. If it's appointment, I support that judgment. But when it comes to elective position, then you are challenging democracy, because democracy and office should be open for contender. A particular political party just came up of recent. They give 50% waiver in terms of nomination and nomination form for women and youth. That alone is a way to encourage this gender, the women folks, to come into politics. But when a court is not saying, or like what happened in the National House of Assembly, that women want this particular number of seats to be given to them, elective position, when it comes to democracy, it should be open to everybody and anybody who has interest in contending. But when you talk of appointment, if a particular slot of appointment is being given to the women folk, it's going to build build their interest in politics, and by the time they get to that post, if they care more about the agenda, definitely they can get more women into the system. So if we are looking at it from that perspective, when it comes to appointment, you are allocating the number, a particular number of slots, then you are talking about gender equality in terms of politics, and is a good judgment. But when it comes to elective position, I'm of the opinion that it should be open. But political parties can come up with certain incentive. That's why I talk about a party that give a 50% waiver for women who are coming into who wants to contest in certain position. Parties can throw some incentive, throw some kind of support. Okay, if women are contesting for this position, we are going to give them 50% waiver in terms of nomination form. They are going to give them maximum support in a way to get elected into this particular office. I think these are ways to encourage them into office.
Okay, let's move on. Antagonizing, discrediting youths, highly unpatriotic. Okay, that is coming from ASU. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has described efforts of the federal government to disparage and antagonize the University Transparency and Accountability Solution (UTAS) as highly unpatriotic, international, and neo-colonialistic in nature. The union added that the Nigerian government failed in its duties by refusing to subject IPPIS to proper integrity test just because it gained from an Oracle-based company abroad, despite its deficiencies. So you have ASU there. But in the Premium Times, let's look at what we have. In the Premium Times, you have Nigerian government approves establishment of 12 new private universities. All right. Then you also have Senate passes bill to establish $50 million transportation university in Buhari's hometown. Let me take a few paragraphs from the account of the Premium Times, which says Nigerian government approves 12 new private universities. Bright, what will you say to these? ASU is on strike, and someone who does not understand the government would say government is giving approval for the establishment of 12 new private universities. The Federal Executive Council has approved the issuance of provisional licenses for the establishment of 12 private universities across the country. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed disclosed this to State House correspondents at the end of the council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday in Abuja. He said the affected universities will be located in Kano, Niger, Gombe, Sokoto, Delta, Abia, Anambra, and the Federal Capital Territory. He said Council approved the memo for the issuance of provisional licenses for the establishment of 12 proposed private universities.
Well, for this private university, first of all, it's not the government. Accordingly, if you are to look at it from the normal standard, it's not the government that is funding it. The government will give them the provisional license for them to operate, but it is going to raise some doors because the existing federal government universities have been shut down, and not much has been done in terms of negotiation and getting them back on campus, which is going to affect the academic system and bringing more private institutions on board. People are looking at it towards what happened in the lower level, that's the secondary school and primary school, where government-owned institutions, government-owned schools are a write-off, and people are not. The educational standard there have been destroyed, and more private schools are coming on board. It's more as if people will now be looking into that particular direction. Government approving this private institution, I see nothing wrong with it, but I think they should still look inward and put up their school back in order so that students can go back. Because even these private schools, how many of them can the masses afford? And even the ones that they can afford, what is the standard of education they are giving out there? Because it may get to a time that private institutions, with all the amount of money they charge from students, if you are to compare the quality of education, even as at now, if you want to place them side by side with a government-owned institution, I can bet you and tell you that government-owned institution is still doing far better than so many private institutions. But the issue of strike and this disruption of academic calendar has become a major challenge, and that is to be one of the government's major focus. They're talking about the UTAS and the IPPIS. I think the ministry, the agency in charge of technology, I've forgotten their full NITDA, yeah, they came up with a integrity test they did on UTAS and how it failed those particular tests. But the problem I have with them, they should not just write it off, because this is one of the issues that has given us controversy. When you do integrity tests and it fails those tests, what I expected from them is probably recommendation: improve on this particular area, take off this particular clause from the application, add this and that to it for sake of effective running and effective system.
Okay, so the story is that the federal government has approved the establishment of 12 new private universities. Okay, the number to send your text message to is 0905 221 3356. 0905 221 3356. That is the number for you to send your text message to on the program this morning. Let us move on. In the Daily Trust newspaper, bandits will keep train passengers if federal government fails to meet our demands. Okay, so you have the story right there in the Daily Trust newspaper. We will kill train passengers if federal government fails to meet our demands. But also in the Daily Trust newspaper, Kaduna attack, terrorists have surrendered heavy casualties. Okay, terrorists have suffered heavy casualties. That's coming from the federal government. The federal government on Wednesday said the terrorists who attacked the military base in Breningwari area of Kaduna State suffered heavy casualties when they were repelled. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said this while reacting to a question on insecurity after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the council chambers of the presidential villa in Abuja. 11 soldiers were reportedly killed and several others injured in the attack on Tuesday. Mohammed, who said the government was not overwhelmed by insecurities across the country, contrary to public perception, stressed that not every success of the military in its war against terrorism was in the media space. He blamed the media for providing oxygen for terrorists by publishing their activities on the front page of every newspaper.
You shouldn't come again by blaming the media.
Why should the media not be blamed?
Because if you look at that particular report, I think the minister should have not even come up to say what he has said from my own perspective, in the sense that there are 3 reports. One said 9 soldiers were killed, another said 11, another one said 15. We don't know which
was
of
in
them.
An attack that happened a few days back. Maybe
he is trying to pick up that particular attack, and he said, from what he said concerning that attack, that the bandits suffered heavy casualty. So if we are to place it, he's the only one. He has more information than we do. But if you're not coming up to say the bandits suffer heavy casualty, what are the figures? Because we have the figures from the military side. What are the figures from the...
That's exactly the point the minister was raising, that you don't get to hear more of the achievement.
Then let him tell us.
You don't get to hear much of the achievements of the Nigerian state against our enemies.
That's why I said he's a minister. He knows more. So he should give us the figures from his own perspective.
And he is saying now that these terrorists suffered heavy casualties.
In what numbers? Because they subjected the military to an attack for 2 hours. And from that 2 hours, we were able to get a report from the number of military personnel that were killed. And another report said over 29, one said 49, were suffered various degree of sustained various degree of injury, and it was even specified the hospital where they were taken to for verification. So as a minister, if you are coming up to counter, you always preach against fake news, and which we've really seen the impact and effect in the Nigerian society system. But when you are coming up to counter fake news, you don't just debunk it, because most time what they do, they debunk fake news. Give us the exact figure, give us the true situation of things. This is what the military have done, this is what they did. Because that particular attack, they did not just stop there. They went away with military weapons, and also destroyed some of our hardwares. I think about 3 armor tanks were burnt. So I know the military, they are doing their best. That particular video that is on social media, where you see military zoom, drones zooming some of these bandits hideout. One will want to conclude that they may be doing that for intelligent purpose, and the military have been engaging them. But we need credible information to counter whatever is out there in the public space. So you don't just debunk it. We know the military are doing their best, but how good is their best? Like I said yesterday, Kaduna is like almost the headquarters of our military base in the country, and for Kaduna to be suffering this series of attacks, the airport was attacked, the highway was blocked, the rail was attacked within 24 hours twice. it calls for concerns, and Nigerians are concerned because everybody are scared. Even the politicians themselves, they are scared. So when you talk about government doing their best, but the question we need result. The result of what you call your best is what we are more concerned about. If your best could be able to minimize bandit or terrorist activities to the barest minimum, then kudos to you and your achievement.
Okay, so you have the Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, saying that the enemies of the state, these terrorists, they suffered heavy casualties, okay, during that attack that they launched. But the story, bandits will kill train passengers if federal government fails to meet our demands. There is one that is indeed worrisome. Let's move on. Lawmakers, some agencies should be scrapped to reduce government expenditure. Mela Victor, a member of the House of Representatives, says the federal government needs to review the functions of ministries, departments and agencies to avoid duplicated functions. Victor spoke in Abuja after he was named chairman of an ad hoc committee to investigate the duplication of duties, overlapping functions, and counterproductivity of established agencies, departments, boards, parastatals, and corporations in the country. The lower legislative chamber had passed the resolution in March following the adoption of a motion sponsored by Tahir Monguno, the chief whip of the House. Okay, so Mela Victor is actually not saying something new. You remember the much celebrated Steve Oransaye's report. This has been suggested long ago that some agencies should be merged, some should be scrapped in order to reduce government expenditure. You have a lawmaker coming up with these.
Yes, if you look at the Nigerian labor market or labor system, the federal government, in fact, the government is the biggest employers of labor. And if you are to look at the agencies, currently we have over 800 federal agencies. And if you look at that numbers, break them down to their staff strength. How many of them? People may want to complain that fine, if you are to scrap or you are to merge agencies together, that's going to give birth to job loss and the likes, which is quite true. But a situation where we are having duplicated functions, you see agencies, almost 5 agencies on agriculture, almost doing the same, if not their portfolio is not well spelled out, so they do almost the same thing. So for the sake of the suggestion or proposal being put out there, government is crying for scarcity of funds, and at the same time one of their campaign promises is that they are going to cut down the cost of governance. Nothing wrong in scrapping or merging some of these agencies just to cut down the cost of governance, but if the government is to do that, I will want to add to it that it should be a systemic or a planned merging, because by the time you do that, one thing is sure, that people are going to lose their job, and by the time they lose their job, where are you sending them to? If there are ways they can be compensated or things they can do, so that by the time you merge those jobs, we don't create problem by trying to solve problem. That's just my suggestion.
Okay, let's move on. In the cable, federal government to disburse interest-free loans to 98,000 farmers and traders. The federal government says it has concluded plans to give interest-free loans to 98,000 beneficiaries of its restructured government enterprise and empowerment program, JIP, known as JIP 2.0. According to NAN Sadia Umar Farouk, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development, made this known in a statement on Wednesday. Farouk said that the decision followed the final verification of Phase 1 applicants who qualified and were selected to benefit from small loans ranging from 50,000 naira to 300,000 naira. She further said that all the beneficiaries of JIP 2.0 would receive congratulatory and sensitization text messages in the coming days, informing them of their qualification. According to Farouk, the money given to the beneficiaries of the empowerment program is a loan and not a grant, and must be repaid within 9 months. Okay, so these 98,000 Nigerians were actually selected. The question Nigerians will ask is, when were they selected? When was the advertisement made? So how do we resolve all of this? Because at the end of the day, people in the southwestern part would say, oh, this loan is going to a particular region. You have the people from the southeast saying, oh, it's only the southwest that is benefiting. The southwest would say, oh, it's only people in Zamfara state and in the northern part of the country. So how do we close this gap?
Yes, fortunately, I've engaged one of the federal government agency directly under the presidency on this particular issue, and this is part of what they were set up for. And we've discovered that information is a problem, especially in this region, because those people empowered with information, sometimes they hold this information for some corrupt and selfish reason. If you look at this particular report, the 98,000 persons have been selected already, and according to her, in the next couple of days,
disbursement will be made.
And it is in three categories: trader money, farmers money, and the third one is market money. And it will range from 50,000 to about 300,000, which they will say they will pay back within 6 to 9 months. But when did they start the application? So that's why I said we need to ask some of our leaders questions. Let me draw your attention to the Minister of Youth and Sports. Sorry to bring him up here. He headed a particular federal government disbursement, the empowerment program for the youth. But the question I threw to them: you are from this state. How many of people beneficiary are from? It's not wrong. I don't see it wrong for you to head a particular slot position and giving adequate information to your people. We are not saying because you are there, they pack all your people there.
But is it possible for state governments not to be aware of this type of a thing? You know, in the past, people get to hear some of these things on radio. No one is even sponsoring adverts in order for people to get to know anything any longer.
This particular agency, they have office in Ibadan. I've been with them. I've been discussing with them on this particular issue for quite some time. And like, how many of the radio stations are you partnering with in terms of give people information? They say currently for now there's no radio station they are partnering with, because if people don't get this information,
to know?
See, these things are slots. If we want to look at the corrupt aspect of this particular 98, we can go into that and we'll discover that the true beneficiary may not be up to 50,000. And
so these ones are expected to be farmers. If you empower 98,000 farmers, perhaps we won't be talking of food insecurity. We may be talking of food insufficiency, as the case may be. But most times, the real farmers will complain that all of these things don't get to them.
The fact is, anything empowerment in Nigeria is slot. And when it comes to slot, people get this slot and give it to friends, family, and whatever. It's all about slot. So that's why at the end of the day, this 98,000 whatever will be given out, but it won't get to the right people.
And Nigerians are really looking for loans. They would rather go for these than to
look at the last trader money they did. Yes, the last trader money they did. At the end of the day, the same federal government, the CBN, and some of the officials complained that the people did not pay. A particular state in the northwest, I had to follow through their report. They said they are even finding it difficult in getting the biodata of those people that benefited from this money. So how will you give money to people without you getting their biodata? So definitely is a kind of like they see it as a national cake, and that's why she was stressing it on that report that this is not a grant,
it's a loan.
It is a loan and it will be paid back. But I bet you they will still give her this money and they'll find it difficult. 20 billion naira for that matter, they will still find it difficult in collecting it because the necessary things will not be taken care of. You are giving out loan. Who are the people going to manage that loan? Who are the recovery officers the government is going to employ to make sure they recover? What is the repayment pattern?
Have you forgotten that the CBN lamented that the Uncle's Borrowers program is one that cannot be described as a success? Many people collected the money and they didn't refund or return the money they collected, and CBN was complaining that it was running at a loss at that time. And on this platform, people complained that who are the ones that got this money in the first place? Political farmers.
They are slots. empowerment in Nigeria is slot. It's going to go to those they know it will get to. So the government, they've not released. They should tell us what is the recovery mechanism put in place. Because at the end of the day, the 20 billion will enter voicemail and will become a story of the past.
Okay. In the Punch newspaper, SIM NIN deactivated subscribers want 3-month extension. Enrollment centers congested. A large number of telecommunication subscribers trying to link their national identification number and subscriber identity model together were left frustrated on Wednesday as heavy traffic on telecom networks slowed down the process. This is coming after the federal government, through telecommunication companies, banned Nigerians who had not linked their SIMs and NINs together from making calls. Now, the federal government, one would say, did try or actually give ample time, but the affected ones are asking for 3-month grace extension.
I think the federal government was even lenient, because at first what we thought is that they would completely bar the line that you cannot receive or make call or do any other thing. But there's just a little minor, let me don't call it a minor restriction, because to some persons it will cost them a lot, a restriction on outgoing calls. But it boils down to our attitude in Nigeria. We always wait for the dying minute. When it's getting close time to the expiration, that's when Nigerians will start warming up. And like what someone told me yesterday, he said he was so surprised that when he got to the telecommunication center, he even saw those we classify as the elite, those who are educated, still among those people who fail to comply. All the extension period, people kept on saying, I don't mind, they will extend it. Even if they extend this one for the next 3 months, we still have the same issue. So I think when government give, there's this PVC on restriction going on. How many persons have taken advantage of this free period to go and get their PVC? So there are other issues. So if the government wants to extend it by 3 months, I will appreciate that. But
the affected Nigerians are actually asking for this 3-month extension.
But also, what I still feel the government can do is to create up more ways that Nigerians can actually get this thing done easily, and it should also be a continuous exercise, not something that it has been, and from the system we have on ground, is something that's going to be a continuous exercise.
Okay, so I opened the phone lines, but we congratulate former President Goodluck Jonathan. Jonathan escapes unhurt as 8 die in Abuja road accident. Quite unfortunate, but all thanks to God Almighty, who spared the life of the former president of Nigeria. So the numbers to call are 0916 104 7698, 0811 052 6487, 0902 280 9257. These are the numbers to call to be part of the program this morning. You can send your text message to 0905 221 3356. Okay, let's start with this particular call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Ajanoku from Akpom.
We have congratulated Jonathan at all. These are the people that government money has been put in their pockets. They refuse to prepare votes. They did not build infrastructure for now. If I went along the line and nothing happened, you are congratulating it. That means you are expecting those who are government not to take care of our roads. I'm not very happy about that statement. Thank you.
Okay, Ajanoku from Akpomu would rather have me not congratulate former President Goodluck Jonathan, but I think it's just the best thing to do. All right. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Hello.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm Terry.
Okay, Terry.
From Elebu. Yes, I'm from Elebu.
Terry from Elebu, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I want to comment on the issue of this money that they said they are sharing.
Okay, Terry, go ahead.
They're saying that there are people who don't actually who are behind this money. But sincerely, I want to tell you something. if you look at the structure of this money sharing issue of the thing, in the north, most of these things are being publicized. But in the west or in the east, down here, you see so many of these people in government there, they will hide these laws for their personal gains, that is for their families, friends, and all of that. But in the north, they will say the northerners are benefiting more from these things. They are not because of these whole place happening down here. It's the people here that are because of this thing. Thank you.
Terry from Elebo, thank you so much for your time. Okay, it starts to resonate with us here. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, let me pick another call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Anu.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, Fred is on the line.
Fred Yakubu, you're welcome.
God bless you, sir.
Amen.
I thank the analysts for what they have analyzed so far. I've been listening to various comments since the beginning of this week. What a country. And our soldiers are being killed. I sent in a text message. I don't know if it's going to be read. But I want to say, these are unfortunate incidents. Nigeria is more civilized than what we are facing today. The rulers, I don't mean because we don't have leaders as it were today. Every sector of the economy is in comatose. Human beings have no value again in this country, whether high or low. And yet, we have a government in power. What a shame!
Okay, Fred Yakubu, thank you so much for your time on the program. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you so much, sir.
How are you? This is Mr. Taiwo Babajebu from Okuro Ilefe.
Okay, Mr. Taiwo from Ilefe, you're welcome, sir.
See, knowledge, wisdom, experience is power. Yes. A successor who refused or jettisoned to learn from the mistake of his predecessor will ever fail. Yes. We always fail. You're supposed to learn from the mistake of your predecessor, either good or bad. But Buhari doesn't learn from the mistake of his predecessor. That is what is happening now. And he refused to share from the experience of his predecessor. Obasanjo is there, knows much about security. You refuse to move closer to share the experience. For me, to rub mine together with Obasanjo, when Obasanjo was in government, we have good security. What happened to you? And you said that you are Nigerian. You are not in Nigeria at all.
Okay. Babatayo from Ilefe, thank you so much for your time on the program this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Anu.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Bright Richard.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Winka Joseph from Olodo.
Okay, Mr. Gwinka Joseph, you're welcome.
Yes. On the issue of money distribution or money to a group of people, I don't think that is what we need this time around. This time around, there is insecurity everywhere. I think what should be the main focus of this administration now is the issue of security. When you are doling out money to a group of people that are insecure, when are they going to where are they going to make the profit? And when are they going to return the money? So it is better this present government face the issue of security first. Let the lives and property of people be safe before you continue to dole out money. Thank you and God bless you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Gwinka Joseph from Olodo, for your time. Maybe I should just start with messages. The calls are also coming in. Okay, let's pick a few more calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you.
This is Samson Bernard from Ife.
Samson Bernard from Ife, you're welcome.
Live my baby again.
You see, we have turned this to be another thing else, what is really the Minister of Information and Culture. You know, the other side the bandits struck that Nigeria is saying under Buhari. And he has now come out to say again that the terrorists suffer casualty. Casualty for what? A casualty that the terrorists suffer does not outweigh the number of lives and property that destroyed. No, this one is not making sense. And it needs to be called to order by the president himself. You know, this thing is getting to a terrible state that we cannot bear.
Okay.
I believe this one is putting up for the war. And 2023, I don't think it will be possible.
All right.
No university, no election. No security, no election. No deliverance.
Thank you so much for your time. Samson Bena from Ife. Hello, good morning, sir.
It's all money there.
Thank you so much, sir.
I'm happy that my first day today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, you are yet to tell Nigerians your name, sir.
My name is Stephen Oyedele, calling for his own kingdom.
Mr. Stephen Oyedele, the man with a kingdom.
God bless you. None of today's headlines. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Mr. Stephen Oyedele.
It's fascinating me. There's something like anything like administration there. Executive order 11. Thank God that such a thing is start happening. Because the way and manner we see our government property is bad. But the only thing that we need to maintain our property called government property. Look at the other school. Look at the area called government property. They have apologies. Go to the Ministry of Education, go to the Health Ministry. You will see the people that have been abandoned. It is not time. So, do something about that one. Then finally, Mr. Ramonide, it is very alarming or comfort that the kingdom say that they will kill more.
Okay.
God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time on the program. I crave your indulgence. Those who are calling, let me take some text messages. I've got tweet and, of course, Facebook messages to take. Good morning, Anu. Sacking Islamic cleric in Akpo is not the solution to our problem. It should serve to correct our ills. Aluku from Custom or Gumbade in Ibadan. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Aluku, for your time on the program. Good morning, Anu. I'm Abiola, approver of more universities. What sort of nation is this? Creating more problems on unresolved ones while our public institutions are on strike due to poor funding, no provision of job opportunities after graduating. This irrational APC-led government is busy adding more stress on the already distressed academic sector. Abiola from Akobo sent that message. Good morning, IBR. Akinlulu AK. About yesterday analysis, thank God that Mr. Bright made mention of the major problem we have in Nigeria, which is systemic failure. If we cannot change the system of government we are practicing in Nigeria, then let us cry out on this particular problem, systemic failure. God heal our land. Thank you so much, Mr. Akinlulu AK. Good morning, Anu and the analyst in the house. There is one basic question I want to ask Nigerians. What was the situation in Nigeria when Buhari took power from NPN, I mean Shehu Shagari, in 1983? We remember during OBJ what happened when soldiers were killed at Odi. Today our soldiers, civilians, whether children or old ones, are killed or kidnapped for ransom. What has happened to our academic, economy and security? Freddy Akubu. Okay. Good morning. No discerning Nigerian will ever listen or believe our dear information minister, Mr. Lai Mohammed, anymore, because only those who wear shoe know where it pinches. Let him just travel by rail from Abuja to Kaduna with his family members. Prince Wale Giwa, okay, send that message. Thank you. Your analyst should seek for information on certain matters rather than being pessimistic on every activity of the present federal government. Executive Order 10. Executive Order 11 on maintenance of public buildings is right step in the right direction. Remember the old saying, we don't have maintenance culture. It will build maintenance economy in Nigeria's construction industry. It will be a disservice to our nation when you always throw the baby away with the bathwater. We should be mindful of the younger generations. Okay, they're listening. Okay, from Bashorun. But I thought at no time did Bright condemn the fact that Mr. President signed it into law, signed Executive Order 11. No, it did not. Good morning, sirs. Let us to consider these students because they will still receive their salary for work not done. Then the parent and the student will be at a loss. I hope gender equality will not create more broken home in Nigeria. Walido from Ojo. Okay, Mr. Walido, I think that's one aspect that we should consider. Okay, good morning, Anu and Bright Richard. Thanks for your good service. Education is the lifeblood of any nation. Somebody said if you want to destroy a nation, all you have to do is to destroy our education. Public universities are under lock and key and nobody seems to care. How many Nigerians can afford the impossible fee in private universities? The last nail is on the coffin of the nation's educational system. It is sad. Prince Remi Adegbola from Agoro. Anu, good morning. Media is so guilty of bad reportage against the state. I was once warned by a platform of a radio station in Ibadan to stop posting success of the Nigerian military when the administration and others talk down on the military daily without caution. Its media gave rise to online bandits shown from Bashorun. Okay, I think it's wrong. One of the reasons why I insist that we are entitled to our opinion. Of course, everybody should be given the opportunity to speak at any given time, but of course we should be mindful of what we say. So I think it's wrong for you to have been prevented from bearing your mind. Hello, I'm the analyst. For the first time, I will want to applaud the Buhari-led government for blocking the lines of many Nigerians who had failed to link their NIN with their SIM cards. However, I am hopeful that the NIMC, the federal government, and the concerned telecom firms will catch bandits who have been phoning victims' family members. Bakis Onodiron. Good morning, Mr. Anu and Mr. Bright. Mr. Bright finds solace in believed newspaper report, but when the news comes from the federal government, he started questioning the news in other way around. Akinri Adi Abdurazak from Nigeria. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Good morning. I know I was a victim of illegal mobile court at Monia. I was forced into Akinri local government and moved down the red block house behind VGN office and met the bearded man who threatened me with several things. He forced me to use POS and ransacked me, collecting every money I have in my pocket. There are several able-bodied men around. I have to obey for the fear of my life. Akinyele local government authority must verify and arrest the situation. Yekini or Deyemi from Ishayi sent that message. Okay, I wouldn't know if you are the one that sent this same message yesterday, an allegation, but it's been looked into. Some of the rich victims of the real incident are paying as much as 100 million naira to the kidnappers. What a shame, Sheyaye Koto. So how did you come about this, Mr. Sheyaye Koto? Okay. Is your family member a victim? How did you know? I hope you are not just throwing up things that you can substantiate. Morning and well done, IBR. Years of IBR, money sharing is only given the northerners, their kinsmen. Where is Nersa Agri Clone? I personally applied for it in years past. I went to their office in Dubai. I was only told that I should expect SMS alert up to today or tomorrow. No news. Holubonmi send that message. Payola Odusoya from Ijebu. Private universities were approved in Nigeria. The University of Transportation, located at the president's hometown, isn't a private one. Mr. Rotimi Amici gave us to know that the Chinese company handling the railway from Kano to Maradi gives the varsity as its corporate social responsibility. It's a bribe. It inflates cost. Okay, and we were told it's going to cost $50 million. Please, I have linked my line with NIN and still my line is bad from making calls. Yemi from Iwo Road. Okay, I will investigate, and you're not the only one. I have seen people have lodged this complaint. Okay, so we move on that. Maybe tomorrow on the program we will feed you back. Morning, Mr. Anu. I have said this. There is no disaster ministry. Please, we only have a ministry that is saddled with the responsibility of managing disaster. No disaster ministry, please. Okay, so you said this ministry will always be claiming to engage unknown spirit and empowering them. I'm an NPA beneficiary and we are being owed 3 months stipends, claiming there is no money. I don't know where they will get the money they want to loan farmers. Larry from Orogun. Okay, I think I've taken enough of text messages. Let me see how many tweets I can take on the program this morning. Okay, tweets, where are they? Solomon Olukayode says the Nigerian police IGP visited the Kaduna train attack scene, but only to air another attack in Niger. I asked Anuluapo how many fruitless victims will he make? How many bandit phone numbers has he tracked despite collecting ransoms? Are we truly in the jungle? No, we're not. Saint Ogungbe says, good morning, Anu and the analyst. God bless IBR and the listeners. Okay, thank you, Saint Ogungbe. You sent this yesterday on the program. Abiola says, Anuluakbo, congratulations for approval of more private universities since our APC leaders finally killed the public ones, just like their predecessors destroyed public secondary and primary schools for private ones. Saint Ogungbe says, good morning, Anu and the analyst in the house. God bless IBR and the listeners. I think Sadia Farouk should be realistic in her dealings as a minister of the federal government of Nigeria. She is also cooking what I don't understand with the exited Empire beneficiaries tagged Nexit. Okay, thank you. Solomon Olukayode says the executive order 11 has come to limelight. I asked Anuluakpo, is the usage of confiscated buildings included? What happens to anyone who vandalizes or converts any? We need people-oriented policies. Food is scarce. Still, the herdsmen and bandits are misbehaving. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you.
This is Anthony.
Anthony, quickly.
Your guest. Is it the issue of this percentage of women inclusion in the government service is very good, because not only in the government service, even in the private sectors, we should be able to employ more of our ladies. Are you hearing me?
Go ahead, Anthony.
So I think the private sectors should try to employ more female gender in the organization, because we all have them as our daughters, our sisters, so even as our mothers. So it's good. I concur to that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anthony, for your time on the program this morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Anthony, for your time on the program. I want to see if I can take Facebook messages on the program today. Let me see if I can take some Facebook messages. Okay, Tijani Razak, Mr. Anu and Mr. Bright, good morning. I think you guys need to do a lot of investigation on the issues of this government social intervention. I've seen a lot of people collecting survivor funds. These people are not politicians, neither do they know anybody. Okay, and Mr. Tijani Razak, if we throw up the report of our investigation, and of course you'll be surprised again. Aderonke Akorede Oladele says this is good. Attending to issues with reality on ground is very key to party successes. Governor Sheyi, as one of the very important stakeholders from an highly important, okay, Telaolu Inka Anuluapo, Nigeria has not been this bad. May God heal Nigeria. Adedoyin Abiola says that how does approval of private university have anything to do with the betterment of the masses, but rather adding more problem to the already unresolved ones? Instead of judiciously financing and managing government-owned universities, they get themselves busy killing them so that their associates' own private universities can be flourishing. Thank you so much. Okay, as we go on the program, Mr. Tijani Razak, are you aware that in Zamfara State we're talking about 140,000 beneficiaries of federal government grants, and in Oyo State 13,800? Okay, so just imagine what the margin is, so wide. And of course you will know that Oyo State is bigger than Zamfara State. So what we are saying is that perhaps the state government can also come in and educate the people. people should not get to be hearing of these grants, these loans, only when an approval has been given. Okay, people should get to know right from the moment applications are being called for. Okay, let's wrap up with this particular call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you.
I'm Tayo and I'm calling from Bujalamuyu.
Thank you.
Regarding what the imam that was sacked from a mosque in Abuja said, where he says that may God.
Hello, Tayo, go ahead.
Regarding to the report on the mosque that was sacked from a mosque in Abuja, that says that may Allah send him to hell for criticizing Buhari's administration for not providing security for Nigeria. I want the committee of imams that sacked him from that mosque to study the Quran, the Hadith, and other books on mysticism in Islam.
All right.
To find proof for what they have said and indicating.
All right. Thank you so much, Tayo, for your time on the program. Bright, we have to go.
Yeah, may God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Bright Richard. He's a public affairs analyst. I am Anuluapo Omoride. See you next time.